All right, let's get started here. Hope everybody's doing good. This is Mason Line, Business Development Manager here at Smart Training. Welcome to the third and final part of our webinar series, Making eLearning Work for You. I'm going to first start off with giving a brief overview of our LMS and its features, and Jim Moore, our Vice President for Content Development, is going to wrap things up with some case studies and a comparison of other LMS platforms. During this time, if you have any questions during the webinar, you can just stop and ask me or send your questions through the chat box and we'll make sure to get those answered. So let's jump in here. So when you log into our Smart Trainings LMS, this is the first page you're going to go to, regardless if you're an admin or a user. This is our dashboard page. It's basically the bird's eye view of your Smart Training account. You will see here your top priority items. Here we have some new hire paperwork to complete, as well as some training. If you had some progress in some training, you'd obviously show it there with any active notifications as well. And we'll take a closer look at the training tab here. Here is the training that you have available. Anytime you exit a Smart Training course, it saves your spot automatically. You'll have your library where you can self-enroll. There will be a completed tab as well once you have any courses completed. Just don't see that right now since this is a demo account. We'll go down to certificates here. Certificates are a good option in our system. You can change the format here, and there's several requirements that you can change before you print and create those. Our task and insights are a key feature that we're going to touch more on in the Manage Users and Manage Account tab. This is more of the user dashboard view. You can see here that new hire paperwork that you saw on the dashboard is showing on my to-do list, as well as your in progress and completed tabs. Insights is going to be the very same thing. You have your what's available and what you've completed. Documents and document storage, which we'll touch more on later as well. This is more of the user view. This company handbook's been assigned, so you'll be able to open it and view it. Manage users and manage accounts. If you're an administrator, you're going to be spending most of your time here. We'll go down to users and show you how to add a user. We can either create one new user or import multiple ones. Just fill out this required fields and we can save and close. If you wanted to import users, which you more than likely have a larger organization, this is going to be the easier route to go. You can either do that in a CSV or an XLSX file. We're also integrated with Slack, so if your organization is already using Slack, you can just take your contact list and easily slide it over to ours, and all that information will come over quite nicely. Assignments tab. So what can we assign in Smart Training? So in Smart Training, we have the ability to assign syllabuses, courses, insights, surveys, and tasks. And the main way that we filter this out by is through our grouping system. And the way that we like to describe groups here at Smart Training is like a bucket. Everybody can be put into a different bucket. Those buckets are based off descriptions like job location, job description, etc. Also have the ability to expire completed assignments here. Verification and records tab. Obviously, we're a big proponent of online training, but you do some training in person. You can print quizzes to take the training in offline mode, as well as view test results. Our reports tab, as you can see here, we can actually go ahead and pull from many of these reports that are already ready to go and schedule or export them. Or if you wanted to create a new one, you could just go right over here and fill in the required information, and we can create that report and schedule it out. We'll go down to manage account. You'll also be using this a lot as an administrator. Let's see here. Payment methods, update payment methods. Training modules is our main feature here. How do you update training, and what kind of training can you update? Or can you upload, excuse me. So SCORM training, AICC training. And within the training, you can also create quizzes. We'll do a demo one right quick, and I can show you that. Here you'll be able to drag and drop a PowerPoint file, as well as audio files to create your training. Several different settings here. Once everything's done, you can hit save trainings, and that training will be able to show up here for you to assign it out. So our task management system, we have two types of tasks that you can assign out. You have your simple and advanced task, and back to the task up here for the user view is where they would see that when you assigned it out to them. Same goes with our insights. So the events tab, our event management system, here's where you can create an event. We're integrated with Zoom and Microsoft Teams currently. You'll find many different options, such as assigning an event coordinator. If it's not the same person who created the event, the coordinator will be sent an email as soon as the event is created. You can have as many events running at the same time as you want. And that can all be done by clicking this red plus up here at the create event. And you'll see those many options. And we also have basic view. If this view is a little too advanced for you, it can simplify things down to look like that. And then surveys and insights, we obviously talked about those from the user view, and this is how you'd be able to manage survey information as well as insights and assign those out. In our document storage center, you can click up here and be able to add documents. Alrighty, one last thing I wanted to touch before we talked about price, we've covered a lot of the key features, is our help center. We have a lot of frequently asked questions and then a live chat support down here at the bottom. That's available from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. We're looking to expand that a little bit to cover both coasts and help everyone out. Let's see, now we're going to go over here to our LMS pricing. We'll switch our screen here. All righty. So let's talk about our packages. We have 4 packages: our freemium, small, mid-size, and enterprise. All these are protected by a 30-day money-back guarantee, and they can be paid in 2 different ways, either monthly or annually. You will save 16% if you pay annually on all these 3 packages here. And how they're divided up is how many users and courses you have access in each package. So your small package, 50 users, up to 25 courses. Going up to enterprise, up to 1,000 with 100 courses. You might say, well, wait, we're much bigger than that, where you can also purchase additional users, courses, and storage for another $500 a month. That's an additional 1,000 users, 50 courses, and storage. On top of that, for an extra $100 a month, you can have access to our content library, which we are developing and adding new courses every month. Another thing that Smart Training offers is the ability for content creation. We can design custom courses for you, as well as create new employer orientation videos. If you guys have any questions about the pricing or anything that I went over, you can ask me now or just send them over in the chat box. And we will pass this over to Jim Moore here shortly.
Well, thanks, Mason, and hi, everyone. Let's wrap up this 3-webinar series by talking about what constitutes effective training and what you should look for as you shop for a learning management system. I'll also tell you a little bit about who Smart Training is and about some of our clients across the country and why the training solution we provide really is your best bang for the buck. So let's begin with, how do we define effective training? Effective training has 5 key characteristics. First, effective training is specific. And that means it's designed to enhance a skill set or productivity in a very purposeful and direct way. You seldom see generalized training these days except for HR-related topics. Second, effective training is measurable. There's some measurable improvement or dynamic following implementation. This might be a cost savings, it might be fewer accidents or incidents, or perhaps improved retention or increased sales. If you can't measure it, you can't monitor it, and you can't manage it. So that's why measurability is important. Third, effective training is accountable. You need to know that team members haven't simply slept through the entire exercise, and that's why every training course that we design has some accountability element incorporated. Usually it's a quiz that follows each sequence of the presentation. Without an accountability element, all you're doing is providing entertainment. Your employees will, they'll certainly enjoy the free time, but there's not much opportunity to improve or grow anything in the process. Fourth, real training has to relate to something that team members can see and feel or touch or otherwise experience. And that's why the most effective training is real world. It's grounded in real world skill development and improvement. And then finally, effective training is just in time. Training today on a skill that might be used tomorrow is largely wasted effort, and that's why just-in-time training has become such a key training industry buzzword. You need to offer appropriate training that can be immediately utilized. And if the content of your training presentations is not immediately utilized, we found that the retention curve drops quite rapidly. So, when you've developed your next training presentation, ask yourself these 5 questions. First, is it specific? Second, is there an improvement dynamic to measure? Third, how are team members accountable for what they're supposed to learn? Fourth, is the training focused on a skill to develop or an experience to improve? And fifth, can the training be immediately utilized? Now, let's talk about the LMS side of the equation. The proliferation of learning management systems means that it's often quite difficult to tell a good LMS from one that barely functions. So let's talk about the 4 key parameters or characteristics or qualities of a good LMS. The first one is something we've taken to refer to as upload capability. You need to be able to easily upload and disseminate the training presentations that you create. We have seen some upload processes that quite literally require an advanced degree to understand. And I think the smart training upload process is one of the best features of our LMS. Almost anyone can upload a training presentation and assign it to those who need it. Next is tracking. Tracking who's completed training and who's not isn't particularly exciting, but it is necessary work. Without a tracking parameter, you really have no idea whether your training presentation is reaching the people for whom it was designed, or whether all your effort has the opportunity to make any impact at all. Next is accountability. Our accountability features help your team members look good for you, and they help you look good for your boss. In years past, live training events often required participants to complete some sort of a feedback sheet or a feedback instrument. The quiz process that's built into our LMS today does more than just assess feelings. It also determines how much of the training presentation was actually understood and absorbed or retained. And then finally, let's talk about scalability. Our LMS has been used in 2 and 3 employee dental offices all the way up the ladder to Fortune 500 companies. Now, I'm going to share some client stories with you in a moment, but unless you're looking to stay small, you need to find an LMS that can grow as you grow. Some LMS functionalities are designed for a relative handful of employees. Ours can accommodate as many employees in as many facilities as your company may have, because it is infinitely expandable. Now, let me tell you a little bit about smart training. We began back in the late 1990s as a compliance training company. Our goal was to help employers and team members avoid accidents and injuries on the job or in the workplace. Our initial product was a range of about 50 narrated PowerPoint presentations that covered a wide gamut of safety and training topics. And even then, we were ahead of the industry because our PowerPoint presentations auto-initiated. They were used in a lot of tailgate training experiences, but there was no accountability element. There was no way to track delivery, and the training was sometimes not well timed to the job function. So in the early 2000s, we began developing broad scope training. And in 2010, we added an in-depth training module on patient privacy. And soon thereafter, we became the preferred vendor for a state health association. By 2020, we'd communicated HIPAA and OSHA-required information to more than 15,000 dental offices around the United States. So what we've wound up with is a 25-year track record that's kind of like a farmer's insurance commercial. We know a thing or two about training because we've seen a thing or two. Being around for 25 years tends to give you a unique perspective on how the industry has evolved and how it continues to grow. And our track record actually provides the training gravitas we need to grow smart training in our LMS far beyond our initial vision. So let's talk about some current smart training clients and the work we perform for them. All of these folks use our LMS as a matter of course, and I think they've found us very response-oriented when there's a service issue or a problem. The first is AZZ. This is a galvanizing operation. They run more than 50 plants across North America and the United States and Canada. We provide specialized training modules and also a unique new employee orientation to help AZZ team members understand the challenges of that type of work. The galvanizing middle managers trust us to deliver impactful, consistent training to their team members, and our relationship with AZZ is now entering its third decade. Bruker is a Fortune 500 company headquartered on the East Coast. Bruker has many of the same safety challenges as smaller companies, but scalability is an issue, and the company is growing by leaps and bounds, and that's where we come in. We replaced a vendor who could not deliver just-in-time training with any degree of accountability. Out on the West Coast is ASCO Aerospace. They're a relatively new client. At ASCO, they have some demanding lab environments where proper safety etiquette is essential. We've developed completely customized training for ASCO in as little as 3 weeks, and their specialty environments have actually helped us develop a portion of our module catalog that will also be useful to rank and file businesses further down the road. And as I've mentioned, we have about 1,500 healthcare offices as clients. The challenge here lies in the varying nature of the environment. One client might have several offices and hundreds of employees. Another client may have only 2 employees full-time. Occasionally, we produce a new employee orientation for one of the larger multifocal groups, but for the most part, these offices require someone on the other end of the phone when they have a question or a compliance concern, and that's where our phone presence and ability to be on site really come to play. So when you think about the smart training value proposition, there are 4 key considerations. The first is low per employee cost. Many of our clients train their entire team and spend so little money doing it that the fee they pay us would not take them to Starbucks every day. Second, we have an expanding library of content that you can access. We have some really innovative module series like effective management development and the soon-to-be-released skills for dealing with people, and we already offer training on almost every regulatory compliance topic and every safety topic imaginable. Third, we obviously have a full-featured LMS. If you can think of a tracking tool or accountability metric that we haven't already built in, we'll certainly look at adding it. But the rich feature set doesn't mean our LMS is complicated or difficult to use. Quite the contrary, that ease of use is something we're famous for. It's a hallmark at Smart Training. And finally, we've engineered a minimal learning curve so that you can get yourself and your team members up to speed quickly and with a minimum of effort. We understand one fundamental truth, that everything you do means there's something else you cannot do. So we designed our LMS to ensure that you don't have to spend hours trying to understand what to do first. And our customer service support is some of the best in the business. If you do get stuck, we're literally as close as your telephone or your email. So that just about wraps it from the Smart Training corner of the world. Our thanks to our client development specialist, Mason Lynn, and our CEO, young Josh Matheny. If you have any questions or concerns, Mason or I would be happy to respond. Our telephone number and our email addresses are on the screen, so be sure to jot them down and let us know when you do have something we can address. Thanks for taking time. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Make your day count.